Okay, pathetic Earthlings, who will save you now? It's Flash Gordon! Yep, it's time for another unboxing, and this time it's NECA's Flash Gordon action figure. This is kind of an unusual action figure because although it says on the packaging it's based on the animated TV series, it's actually based on Mattel's vintage action figure that was based on said animated series. But, you don't need to split hairs about it. It's still like a great Flash Gordon figure regardless. Uh, Looks like it to me anyway. So, we're going to go ahead and open it up in just a second. But first, I want to take a look at this packaging, and you can see that the packaging is very much designed to look like that old vintage Flash Gordon action figure packaging. And all the characters that you see here at the side, that was the entire line that they put out in the 1970s. Unfortunately, this line only features two characters, but if you're only going to have two characters from Flash Gordon, Ming and Flash himself, that's the two you want to have. Of the rest of them on here, and maybe if these sell well enough, they might consider making some of these. I would especially like to see Thun and Voltan and Dr. Zarkov. They also have on here the Lizard Woman, Beast Man, who this was before Mattel made the Beast Man that came out in the He-Man line. And this guy, I don't remember his name. He's one of Ming's soldiers, like an officer that works for him, like kind of a higher henchman. But, I suppose you could army build that guy and just use him as like a general Ming trooper. But yeah, so that's all the characters that would have been the original line. Now, I was never able to find Flash Gordon or Ming in the original line, oddly enough. So I did have some of the other aliens, which, I would use with like Star Wars and things like that. I had Thun, which I thought was a really cool figure. His tail broke off, and that kind of sucked. But but he was still a pretty cool figure. And Beastman, he was a pretty cool one. They were nice to have like extra aliens to fill out your Star Wars cantina or whatever. If even though I didn't have, unfortunately, like the main characters of the line like you would want to have. But now I have Flash Gordon and Ming, because that's the only two that they made. So if we look at the back of the packaging, we have a nice picture of Flash and Ming standing on like an alien terrain that they made. And down here, we've got the Defenders of the Universe figures, which I've never seen. I know they came out because a friend of mine got some of them for Christmas. Not this past Christmas, last Christmas. So I know they came out, but I guess I just didn't see them because of poor distribution. But at least I have these. So I got Flash, and I got Ming that I'll be opening up in my next video. And the little blurb here on the back says, posable action figures inspired by the classic animated TV spectacular, Flash Gordon himself and his sinister enemy, Ming the Merciless, two of the most famous names in cartoon, comic strip, and comic book history. Both feature authentic reproductions of the costumes, accessories, and details, complete with a vintage-style blister card, which I'm going to have to open. So, I would like to have one of these to keep in the package, even though I'm not somebody who usually keeps stuff in the package. Most of the stuff that I have still in the package is because I have the packages signed or something like that. But this one, the package is so beautiful, and it's such a great reproduction of that vintage action figure package. I think it would look really cool hanging on my wall. So I might try to see if I can find another one of these to keep in the package. But this one here, this bad boy is getting opened. So, let's go ahead and get on that. Now, like the Fantastic Four figures that I opened, and most of the Marvel vintage card stuff, you can see that, like, this isn't a card that's glued onto the bubble. This is a card that has the bubble kind of embedded in it. So I'm thinking the easiest way to open this is going to be to start at the bottom. Oh, it says on here, not for ages over... it says that it's for ages over 14. So if you're 13 or younger, you're too young to play with these Flash Gordon figures. But let's be honest, if they're under 13, they probably don't know who Flash Gordon is. unfortunately. So let's see. I'm going to try to, at least with it being sandwiched in here like this, it's not going to actually destroy the packaging. It's going to leave that intact. And I might consider, maybe I can just keep the bubble and just kind of slide it back in there. Like I was talking about, I could maybe do with the ears. And maybe it might stay. Alright. So, oops. Dropped his ray gun. That was kind of a tight squeeze getting it out of there. I guess I'd have to open it more if I wanted to do that. But, I don't know. I'll see. I'll play around with it. See what I can figure out. I'm going to tilt this down a little bit more. Okay, so we have the damnable twist tie. Of course, I hate twist ties. Got to twist them off. So annoying. I'm still twisting. And kind of pull this thing out of here. Hopefully it didn't mark up the figure at all, because sometimes that happens. And you can see, like, when he was in the package, like, his head's kind of tilted down like that. And, the way his whole body is kind of crunched in there, it makes him look kind of hunchbacky. He should be in there more sort of straight up and down like this, and then he would look a little more heroic. So I guess if I'm going to have one that I open, it's probably good that I have one that's open where he does look kind of sullen in there. So his accessories include this extra hand, which we're going to be switching on in just a second, and this ray gun, which is a very cool, very sort of Art Deco, you know, diesel punk looking ray gun. I really like that ray gun. That looks cool. And then now that I have the twist tie off, there's these stupid tabs down here at his ankles. And I'm even more worried about this marking up the figure because it's got silver paint on there. And, you know, silver paint is oftentimes like the weakest kind of paint, and it scratches really easily. So let me pop Flash out of the tray. There we go. And like I was saying, these are actually not, despite what the package says, 100% based on how he looked in the animated series. This is based on what the original action figure looked like. And how you can tell that is when he was designed on the original cartoon series, he had black boots and blue pants. And this one has, it does have blue pants, but it has red trunks over it and silver boots. Now, when Mattel made their Flash Gordon figure, they took some liberties as far as the design of the costume goes. And instead of having him with blue pants and black boots, they had him with black pants and silver boots and red trunks over the black pants. Now, I figure the main reason they probably gave him the red trunks is because, you know, on the original figure, this would have all been one piece. Everything from, you know, the neck all the way down to the pelvis of the figure would have just been one solid piece of red plastic. And they probably did that to save money rather than painting the pelvis part to match the legs. They decided to just leave it red like he had red trunks. Which, to be fair, in the comic strip, you know, you have different costumes for Flash Gordon, and sometimes he has worn red trunks over blue pants or black pants or whatever. And but that was not the case on the cartoon. So they did that differently, and they probably gave him silver boots just because they had given him black pants, and they didn't want to have black pants over black boots. So it's really weird to me that they would bother to paint in the boots a different color, but they didn't bother to paint in the trunks a different color because they were trying to save money on one, but they didn't mind spending the money on the other to make it less accurate. It's kind of a weird thing. But, you know, if you're looking at it as being just a Flash Gordon action figure, it's perfectly fine. It's just, you know, different from how the cartoon looked. Now, like I said, this isn't necessarily supposed to be Flash Gordon on the cartoon. This is supposed to be a reproduction of how that original toy looked, like an update on that. So, whether you would prefer for him to be accurate to the cartoon or accurate to the original toy, that's you know, that's more a personal preference thing, I think. So let's go ahead and take out this hand. Hopefully it'll pop right out. There we go. And I will pop in the other hand. And this is the hand that grips his ray gun. And we'll go ahead and put the ray gun into the hand. Hopefully it'll go in easily. There we go. I think it should hold it fairly snugly, but it also didn't. It's not like how I have to struggle with getting the guns into the hands of the Hasbro GI Joe classified figures. But it should still hold it pretty snugly, I think. It doesn't seem like it's going to fall out or anything. Now, sometimes these NECA figures, apparently their joints can be kind of finicky, but it looks like I've been able to move his elbow just fine. He's got double elbow joints, and of course this is a wrist that can go all the way around, and it looks like it moves side to side. And the other wrist, which is a solid fist, moves from side to side also. Now, if I could have had any other accessories for this figure, I would have liked to have had two gripping hands rather than just one gripping hand, and I would have liked to have had a sword, because that's the other weapon that I really associate with Flash Gordon. But instead, he's got just two fists, one gripping hand, and a ray gun, and that's his only accessory. Let's see, this cummerbund kind of piece with the belt over it. It looks like it's a separate piece from the trunks, but either it's on here really tight or it's glued, so I can't move it around too much. So it looks like it's going to be pretty much right there. That's where that's going to belong. So if you feel like it's a little too high or a little too low or whichever you feel like, it's probably going to just sit there. You're probably not going to be able to move it. Maybe if you heated it up with like a hairdryer or something, you might be able to do it. But let's see, yeah, his arms go all the way around and up and down. Looks like it goes up about that far and down to like almost like basically like a 90 degree, almost 90 degree kind of movement. And then you can rotate at the bicep all the way around, and the double jointed elbows, and the wrists go all the way around, and then back and forth this way. It's a horizontal joint. And then the legs can move up almost 90 degrees. Double jointed knees. Let's see, those seem like they're not too frozen there, so that's good. And then at the boot cut, the boots go all the way around, and then you got like these really good rocker ankles here. But I'd be pretty careful with those because ankle joints are always really delicate in my experience. And then he's even got articulation at the toes, so not something you see too often nowadays, but it's nice to have. So, and then there's an ab crunch, so he can bend down, and it looks like not bend all the way up, but that's a nice, that's probably about the way I'm going to leave it. The head sculpt is really good. Let's have a look at that. And it's a nice square-jawed, handsome, heroic face, wavy hair, kind of slicked back. It looks very much like the way that Alex Raymond always drew Flash Gordon. He looks a bit more muscular than Raymond's Flash Gordon, but you know that's to be expected with a modern day action figure where they all look like really jacked. So like Raymond drew Flash Gordon very much with the same sort of build like Buster Crabbe had, which that was before. Obviously Buster Crabbe was based on the was cast based on the comic strip. They cast him because he looked like Flash Gordon, but it's that same sort of physique where he was a swimmer and it was like that kind of athleticism. And this guy's more like Arnold Schwarzenegger almost. He's just totally jacked and ripped, and every muscle is there on display, and he's all veiny, and he looks like a bodybuilder. But like I said, that's how modern action figures are. They're supposed to be all jacked and everything like that. He looks really cool. I'm really happy with him. The costume is, like I said, kind of based on the animated Flash Gordon, but it's colored like the action figure from the 1970s. And this is very accurate to Raymond. Like the design that they had of Flash on that animated series was very close to how Alex Raymond would draw Flash Gordon in the comic books, or the comic strips, I'm sorry. And this is kind of like a general sort of Flash Gordon outfit. This is, he wore several different outfits in the comic strip, but this is one where, like, it's the sort of thing where it's like, if I ask you to think of Flash Gordon and describe him based on the comic strip, you're probably going to describe him as something like this. So, when we saw the figures on the back of the package, you can see there's the Defenders of the Earth Flash Gordon figure, and his outfit was a little more sort of military with the epaulettes and everything, and the high collar on the jacket. And this one is a little more sort of like the diesel punk kind of retro sci-fi looking guy. This is a very much a classic Flash Gordon. So I wish I'd have been able to find that Defenders of the Earth figure, because I was a big fan of that cartoon when I was a kid, and I really liked those figures. But I gotta say, if I could only have one, I do like this Flash Gordon a little bit better, because he's more sort of the comic strip style Flash Gordon. Very classic, very Buster Crab. Reminds me a lot of the movie Serial. So this is a definite recommend. I think he's a great looking figure. He's gonna look great on my shelf, especially facing off against Ming. You can see like I can get like a lot of really cool poses out of him. Like, my only gripe is that I wish he had have come with, like I said, another extra gripping hand and a sword, and then to me this would be like a perfect Flash Gordon action figure. But as it is, it's only a near perfect action figure. But like I said, I'm probably gonna try to get another one so I can hang a packaged one on my wall. I think he's that cool, and I'm really happy with him. I hope at some point they can do another re-release where he'll have the sword and the extra hand like I was talking about. Maybe that one they could color to look more accurate to the animated series instead of the action figure based on the animated series, and that might be like a really cool. It would be worth double dipping, I think, especially for somebody who like me is like a pretty big fan of Flash Gordon. They've also got another version of this coming out where he's in the costume that Sam J. Jones wore in the movie of Flash Gordon. It's not Sam J. Jones. They use this same head where he looks like the comic strip Flash Gordon, but I still think it's pretty neat that they did the movie costume, so I'll probably buy that if I can find it, but I'm really happy with this one. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this episode. I'm going to have Ming the Merciless up next in my next video, since I was able to find that figure, and that's pretty much it. We'll talk to you next time. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe and all the fun YouTube things down below. Tell me what you think of this Flash Gordon action figure. What do you think about Flash Gordon in general? Were you ever able to find those Defenders of the Earth figures? Because I never was. Like, thankfully they're coming out with the Phantom again, and he'll have the stripes on the trunks, which makes him more accurate to the comic strip, so I like that better. But, when am I going to find Mandrake or Lothar again? It's not like they make a ton of Mandrake merchandise these days. They probably make more merchandise of Flash Gordon or the Phantom than they make of Mandrake, and I don't even see that much of those guys. So, anyway, that's pretty much it for this time. Make sure to turn in for my next video if you want to see Ming the Merciless. Take care. Bye.